Nivritti Asambhavat. You know, these people who go by Bhagavad Purana, they are called Pauranikas. Pauranikas means those who follow Bhagavad Purana. Pauranikas means they show more interest in Puranas, what the Puranas say. And in fact, the Puranas have to be understood in the light of Vedanta material. Otherwise, you will start looking at them literally. When you look at even Vedanta Vakyas literally, they create contradictions. Bhagavan ne socha, why did he think? Contradiction. When did he think? You can't really look at what Vedanta says literally in terms of our thinking, in terms of events. If you interpret Vedanta in terms of events, we can't. And all these Pauranikas interpret Bhagavatam also literally. And these Bhagavad Purana Pauranikas say, Bhagavan Krishna is the supreme reality. Bhagavatam is very good. But the theory of Dvaitis based on Bhagavad Purana, because whoever says whatever, they try to trace it to Shastra. If you say something independent of Shastra, then people don't hear you. ये तो अपने आप वाला है. He is a Veda Bhakya. Means he is an outside. He is outside Veda. So, these Bhagavad Puranas, whatever they say, Pauranikas, whatever they say, they trace it to. In my thinking, Bhagavatam is very good. Any Purana is very good. But if you look at it as events, like whatever we hear it in terms of objects. The moment we say the word heaven, truth is heavenly, we interpret as lot of water, no shortage of electricity, lot of food. Heaven also is interpreted in terms of abundance of pleasures. This is human thinking. What can we do about it? But actually heaven means simply peace. Heaven should mean actually peace. One can say heaven and imply to mean peace. But that implication is undertaken only by Vedanta. Saying something and implying something else. Something else means something else with which what is said is choicelessly connected. Choicelessly. You don't interpret what the Shastra means. What Shastra says has a very, very intimate connection to what is meant. And Bhagavata Pauranika, they don't undertake, they don't really take into, they don't reflect, they accept it as a story. They say Bhagavan Krishna is the supreme reality, whatever that might mean. Reality is good enough, is it not? This is supreme reality. Okay. Then Sankarshana is the Jiva. Then Pradyumna is the mind. And Aniruddha is Ahankara. But this is all right, if you interpret Sankarshana to mean Jiva, if you interpret Pradyumna to mean the mind, if you interpret Aniruddha to mean Ahankara, what do I do? It's all right. If you interpret something, it's okay. But what they say is that Jiva is a product of Brahma. There is a cause and effect relationship. Vedanta says Brahman appears as Jiva. Whereas the Pauranikas say Jiva is born of Krishna, the Brahman. Krishna is Brahman and Sankarshana, the Jiva, is born of Krishna, the Brahman. So that means it's an event of birth, literal birth. And from the Jiva is born the mind. Pradyumna is born of this, Sankarshana. And from the mind is born Ahankara. In this manner they interpret. And in answer to all this, Vedavyasa says you are wrong. Simple flaw, a schoolboy also can appreciate this flaw. This flaw is, body doesn't create the hand. Hand is a part of the body. It is a part of the body. Once you say the body, hand is a part of it. Once we say Jiva, mind is a part of the Jiva. Mind is a part of the Jiva, not authored by Jiva. Ahankara is a part of Jiva, not authored by Jiva. It's a schoolboy's understanding. Even a schoolboy can understand, yeah, that is true. Tree doesn't create branches. Tree is not the author of branches. I say branches are a part of the tree. Branches are a part of the tree. Between the tree and the branches, there is a limb and a limbed relationship. Part and whole relationship, all right, but not creator and created relationship. Therefore, Jiva is not created from Parameshwara. Parameshwara appears as Jiva. Jiva is not born of Ishvara. On this basis, there is a sutra. You will read it, you will recite it. आज तो गुरु पूर्णिमा कम से कम रिसाइट ये उत्पत्ति असंभवात् उत्पत्ति असंभवात्. See, this jiva, the conscious being, it's not asambhava means impossible. Conscious being has no beginning. It's not possible. It's not possible that conscious being can have a beginning. Utpatti means a beginning. Utpatti means the creation. Utpatti means the birth. Asambhavat, it's impossible. Therefore, Jivatma is not born of Brahma. Jivatma is none other than wave is not born of water. Wave is water. Kitni अच्छी बात है कि wave is not born of. Like a calf is born of a cow. There are two things. That is called a birth. Clean spatial distances. A child is born of the mother. Cleanness. That is called the birth. There is a cause and effect relation. Creator, created relationship. But the wave doesn't take birth from water. If it is a real event of birth, like a calf from the cow, then there should be a special distancing. Similarly, just as the wave is water, not a wave is born. If we say the wave is born of water, wave is sustained by water, and a wave again resolves unto water. Can we say the same thing to the calf, about the calf? The calf is born of the cow, maybe for some time sustained by the cow. Does it go back to the cow? These are the things to be thought of. It's not the celebrations that are important in life, because there is nothing worth celebrating in life. And the least of all is your birthday. Why? What is great about you that you want to celebrate your birthday? हमारा स्वामी चिन्मयानंद जी, हमारा गुरुजी कहते थे, what is great about you? You have really just destroyed, exhausted a lot of ration, and you have polluted the atmosphere, and you are celebrating yourself. Therefore, this is what you need to think. In the same manner, just as wave is not born of water, it is the water that looks like wave. Similarly, Jivatma, we are not born of God. Bhagavan himself looks like a Jiva. Truth itself looks like Jiva. Man is not born of God. God looks like man. Therefore, when you serve man, you are only serving God. In fact, you are touching God. When you touch man, you are touching God. Therefore, this Pauranika thinking in India should go. We should just worship God in the form of living beings. Life. Life is the resort in which Bhagavan lives. Therefore, when you comfort life, you are comforting Parameshwara, you are serving Ishvara. There is no other way of serving God. You make a huge something structure. You are not serving Bhagavan. Swamiji, are we not giving a nice house for Bhagavan? Give houses to the living beings. Yes. And therefore man is not born of God. Man is God, none other than Bhagavan appearing in this form. Minus the form, he is serenity. Minus the form, man is serenity. Serenity is divinity. Serenity is divinity. If divinity is something other than serenity, I am not interested in the divinity, I am more interested in the serenity, peace. Therefore, Utpatti Asambhavat, it is impossible that man can be born of God. It is impossible that he is given birth to by God or in truth. Truth doesn't give birth to a living being. Truth appears as a living. Truth doesn't give birth to the universe. Truth appears as the universe. Truth doesn't give birth to the five elements. It appears. This sutra is over here, and therefore the theory spun by the Bhagavad Pauranikas based on Bhagavad Purana is absolutely wrong. You see, we accept their devotion. Devotion is noble, but a theory. When you come up with a theory. A theory is not a theory about God. Some imagined a theory, cooked up a theory. I am not interested. Similarly, karma kandis are great. Those who perform rituals are great. They are only having They are only reciting and they are only offering prayers. What is wrong with them? But the theory, the karma kand, some of the karma kandis come up with, cook up a theory. What is a theory? You don't need Vedanta, all that you need is only ritual. That is a theory. That a theory we reject. Rituals we respect. Theories we reject. What do? Theory we reject. And rituals we respect. Theories reject. Rituals we respect. Similarly, devotion to Bhagavan is accepted. But a theory about God is rejected. Theory is thought of by you. Devotion is a need. It is for having it happens. Devotion is purificatory. Devotion is purificatory. Prayer is purificatory. But a theory about God is not purificatory. It is a confusion. Therefore, we reject the theories. That's why you can always accept the values of another religion. Because they are not a theory about God. They are just human values. Speak truth is not a theory about God. Be honest is not a theory about God. Be nice to others. Do good deeds because one day you will disappear from this life. Therefore, before you go, do some good deeds. Comfort life, truth will comfort you. Comfort a living being, truth will comfort you. I mean, is it true? Absolutely true. Absolutely. Because that is the law of karma. The law of karma says you get the result of what you, as you sow, so you reap. And therefore, comfort life, truth will comfort you. Some adrishtam will flood your life comfort. And therefore, when it comes to other religions, follow the human values taught in them. But you don't have to accept their theories about God. So make a distinction between a theory about God, and human values. All religions have some good values, accept them. Non-violence, accept it. Vegetarianism, accept it. But if there is a theory about God which is not conforming to reasoning, which is not conforming to your experience of the three states, if you are not really, if that particular theory doesn't conform to what Vedanta says, plus your reasoning, plus your anubhava, then it deserves to be rejected. It is necessary to reject it in your mind. Otherwise, it will try to poke its nose and try to enter your mind. All theories have a knack of, they are like viral. All religious theories are like viral, like dengue viral. Dengue. Test. Right, test. Therefore, positively, actively, you have to reject it. You should actively participate in rejecting a wrong thing. You are a lively man. If you simply say, I am not interested in it, it doesn't. I am not interested in it is not enough. You say it's wrong. You have to dump it in your mind. Set fire to it in your mind. Why? There is nothing worse than a wrong theory about the truth. Therefore, Bhagavad Puranam we respect. The one who narrates the story we respect. All the details of Bhagavad Puranam we accept. All the details of all Puranas I accept. I have no reason to reject it. They are all beautiful. very wonderful story session. But there are certain theories spun on the basis of those Bhagavatas about God. That theory we reject. Even if it is spun by your own cousin, still it should be rejected. Any acharya, who's over. If it is wrong, it is wrong, even if... And the one who has authored a wrong theory, even if he is worldwidely popular, so what? You should be great enough to dismiss it from your mind. You don't have to teach against it, but you safeguard your thinking. This is over, this next sutra. Nacha kartu karanam nacha kartu karanam. It's a very beautiful sutra. It gives a lot of enlightenment. Man cannot alter his own mind. Because mind is already a part of. Even to create the mind, he must have already. Therefore, man cannot. He finds himself with a mind, with a thinking capacity. Like I find myself with two hands. I find myself with a form. I can't create my body. Just as I can't author my body, I can't author my senses, I can't author my mind, because nacha kartubu karanam. A faculty is not authored by the jiva. Very different. You can't create your eyesight. You find yourself with the eyesight and you use it. You find yourself with the ears and you use them. Sadhana is not born of karta. Because karta, the doer, is what? He finds himself with the means of doing. The one who perceives finds himself with the means of perception. A doer finds himself with a pair of hands to do. He finds himself with the field in which he has to do. He finds himself in time and space to act. Therefore, jiva cannot author any karaka. Karta doesn't author any karaka. You understand karaka? Those who know Sanskrit. Karaka means whether it is a means of action or the field of action or the object, all that is connected to karma, the karta doesn't author. Therefore, man doesn't create his own mind. He finds himself. Itna to padh lijiye. Man doesn't create his senses. He finds himself with them. Whereas these Bhagavad Pauranikas say, these Pauranikas who hook up theories about Bhagavan, these Pauranikas say that jiva is created by Bhagavan and the mind is created by the jiva. How? Because nowhere, at no level, there is any creation. It's all in appearance. Anyway, here, jiva finds himself with a mind. He finds himself with a form. A conscious being finds himself with the senses and the mind and the intellect, etc. In fact, it is very difficult even to, maybe you can improve their brightness. वहाँ पर भी गड़बड़ है. What improve? You can improve. Whatever brightness that is latent in the eyes, that little bit you can bring it out. If you are sinking, what can you do? The eyes are sinking, their brilliance is sinking. Now that sinking brilliance को थोड़ी देर के लिए थोड़ा ऊपर ले आना, for which you spend lakhs of rupees. There are sinking ears, sinking memory, And उस sinking को थोड़े just you spend a lot of money and save it for a little while. And again it sinks. Why? Because Jiva finds himself with the brilliant senses. Jiva finds himself with the aging senses. Jiva finds himself with the sinking senses. Jiva finds himself free from even the sense of individual. Even in the wake, I find myself with the waking. I find myself with the dream. And in sleep, I find myself serene, absolute serenity. If you understand the difference between what I mean by the word absolute and relative, in the relative serenity there is a memory of your will is there, your memory. If there is memory, then everything is there. When you are happy, you also remember that you were unhappy before. But in the deep sleep state, there is no memory. That is absolute serenity. Where the memory resolves, that is absolute serenity. Where the memory is there, that is relative serenity. Clear? Thus, Jiva cannot create. Jiva cannot create the mind. He finds himself with the mind. Na kartuhu karanam. Kartuhu means from the Jiva. Karanam means the mind, the antakaranam. The antakaranam is not born of the Jiva. Therefore, Pradyumna is not born of Sankarshana. Sankarshana is the Jiva, Pradyumna is the mind. So they say Pradyumna is born of Sankarshana. These are all theory. A theory is that a scholar has poison and he sits down with his color and goes on imagining. Because after poison you can't think anyway. After poison, after kheer, can you think with it? No, you can't think. Then they start. Then what do you write? All wrong theories. Because how can you feel that you are working hard in life? Because you have to have the sense that you are working hard to congratulate yourself. Sit down after lunch, that is called working hard. मैं तो खाना खाने के बाद आराम भी नहीं करता. Yeah, after bhojan you better rest. Because even if you do whatever you do in life, it is not going to be much. You will be exactly the other way. कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Just it is better, it is saner, it is wiser that after lunch just rest. Little. They say after lunch rest a while, and after dinner walk a mile. All right. If you can't walk a mile, at least rest. Because पूरा दिन भटकते रहते हैं. कम से कम भोजन के बाद थोड़ा बैठो. Anyway, therefore this theory that mind is born of the Jiva, we cannot create anything, sir, in this way. We can only make use of everything and then amazing. We can't create it. What we call we create is all just really not creating something, a new detail in the creation. I can't create anything new. It is just that, within the creation, without adding an ounce of matter to it, I just bring about some changes. Like, instead of making a pot out of clay, then I become inventive and make a jar out of the clay. Or I make something else out of clay. Or I make some music instrument out of clay. Or I make something else out of it. It is called invention. But that's not really creation. That is being invented. Survival program. You are helping yourself. Somehow it's very difficult to explain the difference, but understand. You can make a pot, but you can't make a clay. You can create a pot, all right. You can't create substance. You can create some forms out of clay. Out of 5 elements, you can create some new forms, all right. But you can't create any element. If I can't create any matter, if I can't create any ounce of matter, it is better to conclude that I can't create anything. And the best creativity lies in understanding that I can't create anything. Yes, I can't create anything. I just survive and then disappear. I survive. I live celebratively and disappear unceremoniously. Somebody is being carried, dead person, on the way you come across when you are driving. How much interest do you show to that? How much interest? People just die and disappear. Therefore, we can't create anything. In fact, the best growth is vairagya. If a person gets vairagya, that means he is very, very good. A person who is less greedy is wiser than more greedy. The one who is more. Because less greed means he is moving towards vairagya. Less greedy, less greedy, less greedy, less greedy, less greedy, less greedy, less greedy. And then he becomes really thinks only of survival, survival, survival. And slowly understands that this creation is not useful for anything beyond survival. That's vairagya. That's vairagya. What else is vairagya? Recognizing that the creation's value, matter's value, the wealth's value is thus far no further. That's vairagya. Vairagya is not using the objects. Swamiji, we have heard that vairagya means renunciation. So where do you renounce these objects? Throw away where? Can you throw the objects inside the space into outside space? Understanding its limitation is vairagya. Wealth can't give me anything beyond physical comfort. And therefore, vairagyam is the best growth. Anyway, thus, you can't create anything in this world. If I can't create anything in this world, how can I create a mind? I can't create a mind. Therefore, Jiva is not the author of the mind. Nor the mind is the author of Ahankara. Because the very definition of the mind includes the Ahankara. Just as a tree doesn't author a branch. Branch is a part of it. You don't author it. This is over. Therefore, sir, the Pauranikas' theory of truth is, that theory is wrong. Next sutra ji, Vijnanadibhaveva Now these Pauranikas answer this question. Sir, Krishna is omniscient. Sankarsana also is omniscient. All qualities of Krishna flow into Sankarsana. And Sankarsana's qualities flow into Pradyumna. Pradyumna's qualities flow into Aniruddha. Therefore, they all enjoy the same jnana. That is okay, ji. But still, Vijnanadi bhaveva tad apratisheda. But my flaw is not answered. Tad apratisheda. The flaw that I have shown is apratisheda, is not negated by you. Even if you say Sankarsana is as great as Krishna, Pradyumna is as great as Sankarsana, Aniruddha is as great, all of them are equally great. Even if you say, but still you haven't answered my question, my flaw. The flaw that I have pointed out in your theory. What is the flaw? That Sankarsana is born as an event. As a born of Krishna. Pradyumna is born of Sankarsana. And Aniruddha is born of Pradyumna. There is no creator-created relationship. Because once you say Pradyumna is born, then it becomes non-eternal. Anything that is born becomes non-eternal. If Jiva is born, then he would be non-eternal. But there is no anubhava of non-eternity of oneself. You can't experience your own being as non-eternal. This is something interesting. But Swamiji, is it not true that we all experience our own non-eternity now? You experience the non-eternity of the body, non-eternity of the thought, non-eternity of the senses. The body, you close your eyes to your own body and you close your eyes to the universe. And there is no memory of even the prior presence of the eyes, etc. That is witnessed. That means the witness cannot witness his own death. The witness cannot witness his own death. And unwitnessed, there is no proof. And therefore, there is not only no proof, but there is anubhava to the contrary. There is anubhava that when I am the witness of even the negation of time, how can I have negation? The experiencer has no negation. This is the, if we can just take this, follow these few words. The one who experiences the waking state, the experiencer of anything, call him the experiencer, call him the witness, call him the conscious being, call him Sakshi. It doesn't matter at all, but as a conscious being, as the experiencer of everything, he is eternal. Therefore, but if you say, and therefore Jiva as a conscious being is not born. If it were born, then it would be non-eternal. If it would be non-eternal, then non-eternity of the consciousness would have been experienced. But the non-eternity of consciousness can never be experienced. Because consciousness is the one that experiences the non-eternity of anything that is non-eternal, that appears and disappears. And what appears and disappears is not conscious. What appears and disappears is material in nature. Thought appears and disappears. Waking state appears and disappears. Time appears and disappears. My individuality appears and disappears. But our existence does not appear and disappear. And therefore, sir, even if you say that all of them are supreme, even then, one supreme is not born of another supreme. That is another. We are messing up the topic. It is better that you don't talk, so that you don't further mess up the topic. You just listen to what Vedanta says, you will be alright. This is what Bhashyakara says. The more you talk, the more you are going to mess up. It's like a cow or like an elephant enters the waters and it is trying to make the dirt in it, the dust it has created, the mud subside. It is struggling to make the mud subside. The elephant is doing its best in the waters. मैं कैसे करूँ? मड को नीचे रख. Say you don't do anything, the mud will subside. You just get out of the waters. Similarly, the one who has put up this theory is like that elephant who is doing all these things. Don't talk further. And there is the last sutra. In fact, the wisdom lies in not cooking up theories and just listen to Vedanta with reflective mind. The last sutra of this topic. Vipratishedacha You know, even a wrong theory in India, a wrong theory about God, a wrong theory about Bhagavan, if you put it in black and white and get it printed with a hardbound, I am telling you, people think it is a big Shastra. And anything that is written in Sanskrit in India is looked upon as a Shastra. Which is a wrong can appear in any language. A wrong can appear in any language. The wrong is different from the right. The right can also appear in any language. The right, it has to be right. Therefore, that book says, this theory, Bhagavata Purana, the Pauranika theory. The Pauranika theory has been put in black and white. And that Bhagavata Purana itself is a Shastra for them. They read that theory into Bhagavata Purana. Therefore, for them, Bhagavata Purana is not just really Vedanta Shastra, it is a different thing. And they interpret, their own Shastra says like this, Chaturshu Vedeshu Param Shreyaha Avatva Shandilyaha Idam Shastram Adhigatavan. There was a rishi by name Shandilya. He studied Vedanta, he could not get knowledge. Ultimately, he studied Bhagavatam and so through Aniruddha, Pradyumna, this theory, Bhagavata theory, like Hare Krishna Vala saying, Vedanta doesn't help you, you come to Bhagavan Krishna. What are you talking? Truth can be worshipped in the form of Bhagavan Krishna, in the form of Bhagavan Rama. What is there? Even in the form of even plant or you can worship Bhagavan Krishna in your own granddaughter. You can make that. Therefore, they insult Vedas by saying, they insult Vedas. Bhagavata Pauranikas insult Veda by saying, a rishi by name Shandilya did not get jnanam even after studying the entire Vedanta. And then he came to Bhagavata Purana and he got in this manner, Chaturshu Vedeshu Param Shreyaha Alatva Shandilya Idam Shastram Adhigatavaniti Adi Veda Ninda Darshana. He insults the Vedas. Therefore, Tasmat Asangata Esha Kalpana iti Sutta. Therefore, this imagination, Bhagavata Puranam is great, but based on that Puranam, this particular theory that Jiva is born of Brahma, Jiva is created by Ishvara, is wrong, because there is no real birth of Jiva. Ishvara appears as, if Ishvara appears as Jiva, then Jiva is Brahma, it's peaceful. The peaceful appears as the struggler. If the peaceful appears as the struggler, then the struggler by nature is peaceful, not understood. Sadguru Bhagwan ki jai, Ganga Maiya ki jai. So today there is some adambara. Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamada, Purnamidam